Welcome to the Transform Podcast. Very excited to have Gilad with us today to talk about our favorite topic of digital transformation. Gilad is a self-described digital transformer. Gilad, please introduce yourself briefly.
Yeah. So hi, Dominik. Great to be on the podcast and catch up after a long while. Digital transformation has been something I've been doing since the 90s. So it's something I talk about every day.
Been around for a while.
In this podcast, and so I'm delighted. I've been doing this since the 90s. I work currently at Tulip Interfaces, if you've heard the name. We provide a frontline operations platform, which is the new name or the new category that's been established in doing things that once traditionally MES and LIMS and whereas management system has done. It is a realization actually of probably 25 years of experience that I've had in this space, dating back to actually what I did research for in the university, which was back in Europe around a framework, a European research framework, which was the archetype or the foundation for what we know as Industry 4.0. So in kind of a long-winded answer, I'm saying I date all the way back to pre-Industry 4.0.
Yeah, though I think that's fascinating, right? Computers have been around in mainstream, right, since the early 80s, effectively. And I think it's fascinating, right? If the people that have seen that kind of progress from the early days to now, right? Because it almost allows for a little bit of pattern recognition, which then helps also with the realization of technology in businesses. So that's super awesome. Maybe a little bit, you're currently at Tulip, right? Can you tell us a little bit more about your role and the problem that you're looking to solve for your customers?
Yeah, of course. So one of the things, Tulip brings around a very new platform, a very, very different way to solve operational problems. So, as you also acknowledge, industry is at a varying state of readiness to adopt all these new technologies. What we found at Tulip is that we spend a lot of time prepping and getting customers ready, ready to scale or ready to understand how to use our technology. So I run a group that's called the Digital Transformation Practice Group at Tulip. And really, we engage with our customers to make, to explain to them about this new paradigm, but really get them ready to adopt. And when we say adopt, really what it means is getting ready to capitalize on the immense value that you can get from this new digital technologies that are coming at us. We frame it up as in every digital transformation that happens, dating back to 1.0, the advent of steam, and the production line into electricity and onto automation and systems. Each one of these changes brought around a order of magnitude productivity gain, meaning that we really jumped the productivity curve. Same thing is happening right now. I don't think everybody realized that, but that's really what we're getting. We're getting ready to, I call it, climb the steep hill of productivity increase in your manufacturing, which is what digital technology is promising to do for us.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. So, being in this role, what does this role mean to you? Like, again, having been in the industry, having helped your customers, your places of work evolve their digital capabilities.
If you see how I engage with, in most cases, people call me passionate, but I am truly passionate about this because I've been dealing with it for such a long time. But it's also kind of, in some way, I am impatient because I know this is going to give us so much benefit, and the passion comes from like, let's move, let's do it quicker. What it means to me is really realization of all the seeing. How should I put it? In like seeing everything that we have tried to do with traditional systems, and then looking at how easy and seamless it can be with new digital technology. And that's where the passion comes from. And, one of the things is like, there's a lot of people who are still stuck in the past. So there's a lot of confusion in the industry, whether the technology we've used today, and there's many computerized systems we use, including ERP, for example, is that digital technology. I look at it like if it can give you an order of magnitude productivity gain, then it is digital technology. So you say, okay, is ERP one? I'm not sure. Modern technology is all about how fast you can show value.
Right.
If you have a technology that cannot show you value in weeks, it's really not digital technology. So you have to kind of use that frame of reference. So, it's like when people say, like, you're passionate about it, like, yes, because I know we can move faster. So people were stuck in year-long implementations of technology, years, plural.
Right.
F.
Right.
I get pretty rowdy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good point, right? And what I can tell is, the main hindrance in adopting technology is oftentimes the inability to quickly adapt it, right? You have like this environment, you have something that works, and maybe not so much experience to get something new, to try it out, to evaluate it, and really deploy it, right? And I think that causes a lot of friction in the evolution for many businesses. Yeah. And then you can't really harness the value that you get from this technology that's being developed, that all these wonderful companies are making, but you can't bring it in to use it effectively, right? And I think that's a huge hurdle to overcome. What are the environments that you find, like when you're talking mostly pharma environments, or other industries as well?
No, we work in all different industries, and I personally also. Obviously, I've been in the life science industry for quite a while, so there's an expertise there. I'm also pretty invested. I'm on different committees on the Pharma 4.0 group. We just published the Pharma 4.0 baseline guide, which I'm a co-author of, and there's a new guide coming out called Validation 4.0. So there's a lot of heritage and a lot of work that's been done there. So it's a very important industry for me personally. I've invested in it. I think it's an interesting industry as well. But again, digital transformation is not unique to one. It goes all across the different industries. And the typical question I get is, well, which industry is leading? That's also kind of a hard question to answer. I think there's certain companies in specific, unrelated to which industry they are, that is really forging new ground. And there are industries that are way behind. But
yeah,
it's across industry. I think we talked about this, but we're a bit in confusion right now, because in the midst of a change, you don't know, you can't pinpoint and say when was the inflection point. Maybe when we get to 2030, we'll look back and go, yeah, of course, it wasn't in 2024 when it happened, or maybe it's 23, maybe it's a year ahead. We don't know. We have to go back. I try to describe the change that's going on as a divide or a canyon or a big gap. And people don't really realize how big the divide is until they've come to the other side. So imagine, if anybody's been to the Grand Canyon, you kind of drive up to the Grand Canyon, it looks like a hill. It doesn't look like there's a big canyon here anyways. You're just driving and it looks like desert, bit of trees, high desert. It's only when you get to it and go, holy, this is a big canyon, right? That's when you see, oh, okay, this is what we need to cross. So right. You can describe people's journey kind of in the same manner. A lot of the traditionalists are going, this is just a hill. And when we get there, we'll see a little crack in the ground. We'll just jump over it and we're done. And,
right.
It's only when you get there. And so, when you get to the other side, then you realize how hard it is really. But then you see also the benefits. There's very few people that are on the other side. It's barren. We are somewhere in the middle. So we're spanning the divide. And this is kind of also where the analogy breaks, because one of the things about specifically manufacturing is the average age of manufacturing equipment is around 25 years. The average age of systems in manufacturing is probably 10 to 15 years. Mm-hmm. So anything that if you put in a system today, a traditional system, MES or WMS, right? You're committed now for 15 years. You right. Put legacy in technology that you're not going to change for 15 years. So, we're going to be crossing that divide probably for a good amount of years. with having this. And you can also see that a lot of the technologies that we're dealing with in this digital space are specifically technologies that help you cross the divide. They're technologies that help you connect to old legacy equipment. Technology to think about all the AI in reading paper. We look at we can put a paper under a camera and we can interrogate the paper and say, like, what is in the paper. I don't think that in 15 years we'll be using paper. Like, everything is digital. So is that technology? It's just helping us move somewhere, right? So
Right.
there's just so much confusion in the space right now.
Yeah. One thing that you mentioned, looking across industries, right, and different approaches, the industry specific solutions, I think, are sometimes creating unnecessary inertia, right? Because what companies do is like look around like, hey, what's everybody else in our environment doing? And you orient yourself along that, right? You say, there's some front runners over there, but it's not that many. And there's some people in the middle, and we're kind of part of the middle of the pack. And so I'm not going to go ahead and necessarily invest more, right? Because the pressure is not there. What I think is missing for many industries is looking outside the boundaries of their typical space for creative solutions, perhaps for learning, right? I mean, you can go back and say, hey, let's go start hiring people from other industries to bring in new ideas, bring in innovation, which you really don't have any insight into unless you actively start chasing that, right? And I think that's something that's also maybe hindering some industries in making faster progress than they could and gain a competitive edge of where they are. So, interesting that you kind of look at it across of, also, hey, the in terms of digital transformation, this is something general purpose. Yes, business processes, businesses, maybe challenges to solve are somewhat different, but it's still the same in terms of the foundation that you need, technologically, organizationally, leadership, strategically, right? That this all fits together, that you can really serve customers in the best way.
Yeah. So one thing that I like to mention in terms of, so I have a concept that we framed as composability. Composability is a way to frame up what are the main tenets of digital transformation. I recently published, and my latest blog post actually defines that in a bit more detail, but it has 5 pillars. One of them is what I call agility, but it really talks about the fact that operational excellence and lean is at the core of manufacturing. So we are in this space, in this operational space, where there's a value stream, and a value stream needs to be leaned out because that's how you make money. That is it's a fact, regardless of industry, life sciences, other industries. Lean is the de facto standard, but operating in excellence and operational excellence and managing your operations in order to reduce cost, reduce waste, and increase throughput is a given. It will always be, and it will never change. That's the way you need to run operations. The question is, what tools do we use in order to do that? And that's where traditionally in this space, the lean space, software has never been a tool that was a synergetic or an accelerator. It was always, when they looked at tools like digital tools, they wanted to go the most robust. They have this concept called N-1. Always use the version before last. Mm-hmm. So you're resilient, etc.
For stability and reliability.
Right, but it hinders the adoption of digital technology, which now offers so much more. So, the question about digital technology is, when you look at a technology, it's a simple question to ask: is this going to support my continuous improvement cycles? Is it going to support, leaning out my operation? If it doesn't, if it does not tie one-to-one with making you better and faster to operate at excellence faster or continuously improve faster, it is not digital technology. And you immediately, if you think that, just take that perspective and take an ERP implementation, an MES implementation. Is that helping you lean out your process? It takes a year just to even start. That's not lean. Lean is a continuous improvement of weeks. So
right, exactly. But again, that's why I'm saying, even though the technology in digital transformation is the core element, right, that you look to adopt and leverage for benefit, it's the inability of many organizations to do that in a rapid fashion. And if you say exactly like you say, hey, look, I want to do a project to implement something to help me, but it takes me a year to get started and 3 years to implement it, you're basically tying your hands as soon as you start thinking about making that change. Hence, you get back to being stuck with what you have today, right?
Exactly, and it works. So it also works both ways. If organizations that don't understand that, even if you bring them technology that can go fast, in their mind, this takes a year. Any kind of technology that's out technology takes a year. So they sit back and go, okay, cool, we have technology, let's put a project plan together. So it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. They may have a tool that actually can give them benefit fast, but they still, momentum is like, okay, it takes a year. IT needs to do it. We have to do this. We have to write our specs and our documents and all that stuff.
Right.
So you can see there is a change. There's a change process across the board in the organizations. And you asked me, what do I spend my time on, or what? That is what I spend my time on. It's customer after customer who are in that space, and some of them are easier to persuade or show. Others are just it just doesn't move. And by the way, it's not even regional. Like I'm currently, like this morning, dealing with an Asian customer, that thinks that they invented digital technology in MES back in the 80s, and this is what digital is, and trying to tell them like this is not the way things should work. It's just not moving anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very, very fascinating, right? This the change aspect of technology, right? I also find that it goes so much back to organizational culture, right? To really move forward and say, hey, we want to move fast, right? Which then means you need to build skills that are the different place than what you traditionally have, right? Going from an operational focus to a change focus, and how fast you can execute these initiatives from an idea to having something on the shop floor or with the user, whatever the case may be. Yeah. So maybe, yeah. Oh, sorry. I was going to ask the last question before we run out of time.
Oh, you run out of time. Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So if you could pick one thing in your customer base, what would that thing be? That challenge be that you would remove to enable faster digital transformation at your customers?
So IT/OT convergence is real. Okay, and the IT crowd needs to understand that, is what I say. We are still, I tell the story. We have a few minutes. I'll tell a quick story here. When electricity came around, this is Industry 2.0. Every factory had an electricity manager, the chief electricity manager. He was responsible for electricity. It was new. They don't exist today. What we're seeing is IT/OT converging with all the new technology. There's this notion of democratization going on, but it's a big area of debate. But IT needs to get and understand that the OT and IT is becoming one thing. SaaS and cloud is becoming one thing, and their role is changing. And the companies that understand that, those are the progressive companies. Those are the companies that will reap the benefits of this digital technology much faster than others.
I love that. Break down those silos.
Yeah,
I think that'll get it done. Yeah, excellent. Yeah, we're at time. Gilad, awesome conversation. Really appreciate it. A lot of fun. Great chatting about digital transformation, the possibilities, and hopefully we'll do that again sometime.
We sure will. I'm sure. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.